Hello and welcome to the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with Mike and Laurent. It is Friday, February 18th. I am happy to be back. Mike, I missed you. I was depressed and now I feel better. In this episode, we're going to review the Champions League that just was. We're going to look at the upcoming games. But first, Mikey Mike, it is the quadrannual El Douchico Spurs versus Manchester City at the Etihad. Mm-hmm. How are you feeling, Mike?
Yeah, they have me right where they want me. Tottenham do, because they're awful. They're unwatchable. They're frustrating. They're disjointed. They're all these things. And yet, if you look at their record recently against Manchester City, when they're looking and playing like shit, then they actually come out and play well against City. So City flying high as usual, right? I mean, that's 4 out of 5. The other was a draw. They beat the fucking shit out of Sporting in the week on the road.
I'll do the scores in a minute. Yeah.
I am going to believe in them because it makes fucking no sense not to. No sense to believe in them.
I love it.
These are the games where they show up. So
we'll do the scores and we'll get right to it. First, in the Premier League, Manchester United defeat my beloved Brighton. Brighton were strong in the first half, and then a red card for my friend Mr. Dunk, and then backyard Mr. Ronaldo puts United in front. It's his first goal in 6 games, and everything is right in the United world. They pick up a late goal to win 2-0 into the champions. I know we go international, but not often. PSG defeat Real Madrid. Oh, Messi misses a penalty. Real Madrid don't take a shot on target. Woof. Disgusting.
Really,
they play really defensive. It's actually disgusting. City go to Portugal and stomp Sporting. They have one of their games where when City's shots go in, they really beat you really badly. And that happened. Red Bull Salzberg, formerly of Ralph Rangnick's stomping ground, draw 1-1 for mighty Bayern Munich. Oh, if the away goes rule still existed, that would be a big goal. It wasn't. Inter, home at the San Siro, stifle Liverpool, but Liverpool, again, they're really good, and they find a goddamn way, the sons of bitches. But next week, we have Chelsea versus Lille, Villarreal, Juventus, Benfica, Ajax, and then the battle of 2 terrible teams that probably shouldn't be here and have fallen apart since they qualified for these groups. Atletico Madrid versus Man United. That will be the game that everyone is paying attention to for the next round. Mike, where do you want to go?
I want to start with PSG Real Madrid because I talked about it in the preview that this was a huge game for Pochettino. For all the fanfare that he got in the summer, everybody was, excited about him potentially leaving or whatever. And then PSG made a big grand gesture and said he's coming back. He's staying. This is the basically shit or get off the pot moment.
I mean, this is their whole season.
Well, of course, but this is historically with PSG, you get 2, maybe 3 kicks at the can in Champions League and you're out the door. So this is his second full time through it, right? Maybe third. I can't remember because the COVID years all blend together at this point. But look, for as much as Madrid was un-Madrid, right? No shots on target, as you alluded to. They basically gave
defensive.
They gave PSG everything that they could want.
Yeah,
they came really close to getting away with it, right? So Mbappe scores in the 94th minute to give them the goal that they needed. So all to play for in the second leg. It's certainly not done and dusted, but almost, right? Almost for Madrid. So in the back of my mind, I'm watching PSG through the prism of how does this affect Mauricio Pochettino? Not necessarily because I want him back at Tottenham or anything, just because I still find him to be
it becomes a deck shuffle, and then does the thing open up to everything? Does he go to United? Does Rangnick talk to him? Does he go back to Spurs? Does all the the deck chairs?
It all comes around again.
Yep. Everything starts moving again, and again, like we've said and been a theme of this season, especially after the Super League, the power of the Premier League is so huge that if you are not at Bayern, PSG, or Real Madrid, or Barca's different because they have like that weird culture. You have to be in the Premier League. Even Even the Crystal Palace job is a good job. Even Aston Villa is a good job. Like any job.
Look at Conte, right? Conte won Serie A last year with Inter and was like, "I'm out of here." So
yeah,
he left and he ended up at fucking Spurs.
Yeah,
you're gonna tell me that's a better job than Inter? No chance, right?
Historically, it isn't, but I think it is, especially after you watch what just happened in Serie A. I think,
but it's a combination of, yes, the Premier League is the best place to be, but who does that draw? Egos, right? So Conte goes, yeah, I mean, I won Serie A. Nobody's fucking paying attention.
I mean, it was a big deal.
I know. But at the same time, it's like all of the men that I measure myself against are in
my peer group, right? I can be the king of coaches.
The co-ops, the Peps,
and then with Inter, it was Chinese investors. They were all trying to get into soccer because she thought that soccer was cool. They spent billions of dollars kissing his ass, and the second he stopped being into soccer, they've all bounced. Yeah. They're like, as much as we can make fun of the PIF for Saudi Arabia, make fun of Qatar with PSG, make fun of Abu Dhabi owning Manchester City, regardless of their goals that journalists have put on them. They really are football fans and really care about making these teams win. I don't care what the goals are. When your team is owned by Saudi princes, they're fucking serious.
Yeah.
Like, it's nice.
Absolutely.
Right? I don't want a weird Chinese technocrat who's trying to kiss Xi's ass. At least the Qataris, the Arab money is just like, yeah, we want to win. This shit matters. Like, PSG's now on year 10. City's on year 15. They're not fucking around.
No. It's actually amazing to me that if you put it in those terms, that neither of them have won the Champions League yet. That's crazy.
It's really, really, really fucking hard to win the Champions League.
I know. I got close once and then never fucking again.
It is. I don't understand it. And I think actually, I think this is one of those moments that I think we should step back on and do our sort of historical. We'll talk Inter and Liverpool, big game, big all-time teams, Inter, Liverpool. This is the European nights. And I think it segues into the kind of energy of like, you need the gravitas as a club. I don't know how it gets to the players. It gets transmitted into the fans. It matters for certain teams more than others. And I think about with American sports, how we've given that up by player movement, by free agency, by where LeBron goes is the finals. And the teams don't have to build to making a finals to win, right? Teams don't stay together long enough. They get one punch in the nose, the teams break up, right? Like, does anyone think that, I mean, the Rams kind of, the NFL football, you have to go for it and that's it. And you go, you don't make it to the Super Bowl, lose, and then make it again.
I know we're going to probably go into the American sports a little bit on this episode, but I have to bring up the GM of the Rams. To your point, like, go for it. He had a shirt that said, fuck them picks, right? Which is brilliant. Love that.
Yeah, because a GM should say
Stafford, got Miller.
Yeah. Like, I mean, that's, I think, one of the things that's disconnected from American fandom. And I focus a lot on the NBA because I follow the drama of everything that's not the games. They literally don't talk about the games.
No.
The games are not material. Everything goes from trade deadline to who's a free agent in the summer, not the games. And while we lament sometimes in the Premier League, there's not enough to talk about because all we have is the games, right? Like,
well, look,
we don't.
The NFL is like that because it has 8 months of off season essentially, right? So they get a pass. Baseball,
but the games in the NFL at least drive the narrative.
They matter, right? Exactly.
Yeah,
and so there's just so much more room for England and Europe as a whole to grow. And the weird thing about this is that they don't have anything else. So I don't understand, like, you ever find yourself thinking, like, with all the technology we have and all the things at our disposal, that we have the balls to sometimes, like, say we're bored. Whereas, like, 200 years ago, 300 years ago, like, I would have killed myself. I would have been sitting here like that's, what do you guys do the rest of the week? Like, it's like,
well, they do a lot of drinking. I don't think that I think one thing that we assume is that they know more about soccer than we do? They don't. We know and care about football more than they do because our culture about sport is way crazier than theirs. Like it's Saturday comes and that's it, right? Some guys are into it. You get the odd weirdos who do their travel and away days. So on one hand, yes, I
would say the percentages, like the top 10%, they are significantly deeper than we are. But
right.
But 11
casuals?
No chance. It's not even close.
No, it's not even close.
I would say it's not even close in both directions, right? Like that top 10.
But then you make the other side of it is like there are 92 professional teams. There is a guy that we work for on FanHub who goes to every Stockport County game, every single one. He made an app. That's all he cares about. Russ, we love you, brother. Russ, one of the others. But they go that deep, right? So it's weird. Like we're talking about it from this high level, but they go down into these deep sort of like there's Sunday League. That's a thing. It's much more pervasive to both be a fan of your team and play still because soccer lends that to you.
But
right?
Again, you're only
no one plays football on their own for fun.
No,
there's no Sunday League. Have a throw.
No, but I mean, and it's not the same thing. But again,
we do have Friday Night Lights, so it's a lot of fucking stuff.
There's that, but there's again, I think you're talking about the top 10-ish% of the UK population or fandom at that point. But no, we have 5 sports, right? How many people play beer league softball? How many people play fucking rec league something, right? So you fan it out, but that they all fall in the casuals. I consider myself an American diehard sports fan. I'm not in that 10%, right?
No, we're in another level.
They are right, exactly. I'm in the 10% of the United States fandom.
Yeah,
I don't come close to the 10% over there, right? No. So, and if I grew up there, maybe I would, right? Maybe it would be cultural.
No, you would be a hooligan. You would fight on the terraces. You would do that.
I wouldn't anymore, probably because the
CCTV would have
of quality in the cameras. Yes, that's exactly where I was going. Yes.
Yeah. Well. Yeah.
But I would have some battle scars for sure. In fact, I do from Rangers Islanders games, so I'm pretty much there still. Okay.
Oh God love hockey and it's fighting. So we go into the games. Liverpool beat Inter at the San Siro. Firmino and Salah get it done. And Liverpool are moving along, getting themselves into gear. Klopp seems to be blooding in new players. We've got the youngsters are coming through. We've got a real sort of regeneration. I think that Jota is clearly taken over the Firmino spot, even though Firmino got through. Harvey Elliott is playing on a regular basis. And even got Konate in there in a big game against Inter. And this Inter's playing their best. Now, to be fair, Edison Dzeko is 36 years old. Perisic is 35 years old. So Vidal's also 35 years old. So when you get a sense of what's going on in Serie A, they still are playing some. Alexis Sanchez came on. You've still got some a little bit retirement home, whereas Liverpool's putting out the best of the best.
They're reloading. They're really reloading. Yeah. I don't think he made an appeal. Oh, he did. Diaz came on at some point. So they're reloading. They're not shying away. And the thing about the retirement home, and it's not to say that Firmino is there yet, but he came on in the 75th minute, and he is officially now he's going to get you do a job for you. So he had the first goal. And listen, it's a game where they're on the road in Champions League, European night. They broke through in a late, 2 late goals. So that seems to be the theme of the week, realistically.
And then they'll go to Anfield and there's just,
it's over.
There's no way Inter has no chance.
Listen, what I would say is if Inter was up 2-0, not down 2-0,
even then they
probably still should be favored, right? So
but see, that's the wonder of Liverpool. Their fans, as much as they probably have anxiety, they're afraid. 1 goal early, and they're like, "We got them." There's very, very few teams that feel that way.
No,
right? There's a nervousness.
I think it's a list of one.
Yeah, it's Anfield, right?
Right.
And it's definitely not my team. My team falls behind, even though City, when we win 5-0, we look incredible. City, I think.
I would say Bayern's probably the other one, but you don't have the fan, like the sky is going to fall on top of me feeling on the pitch
No, they're in a very
Allianz.
wealthy city of Bayern. It's metropolitan. They have a beautiful new stadium. They're
No,
probably,
I
I don't know.
but
You know what? What's sad
I'd
is
say the team on the field is
Right,
you feel like
right.
that, but not necessarily like, oh my God, there's going to
Yeah,
be
but
batteries
I don't
coming
think
down
the
from terraces.
the Allianz is their original stadium, and I'm embarrassed that I don't even know what Bayern's old stadium would have been. I
can't
should
say
know
that I
that,
know either.
and I don't want to search for it. I do want to go. We'll go to Salzberg, Bayern in a minute, but I do want to go through City. I want to give the team credit. Raheem Sterling with a hat trick, a natural hat trick after missing a penalty and putting it in. Natural hat trick, left foot, right foot, and a header. Riyad Mahrez also puts one in. Phil Foden on some nifty, skippy footwork to score a goal. Porto really showed they played okay, but City in these moments when they take 4 shots and 3 of them go in, you're gone. They'll blow you away. You need City to miss. When Raheem Sterling is hitting top bins on a cut inside, you're in trouble. So Raheem in form, City now fucking around playing John Stones at right back. Just giving 0 fucks.
Yeah.
And he looks good. That's just City for you. They didn't need the speed of Walker, and I'm sure when there's more pace involved, Walker will come in. But City cruise this game. They're so precise. They just don't stop. Like, I know everyone feels it's boring. We do the Albert Pujols saying, we do the, I don't want to see Tom Brady come back. He's down 20. He's going to just get this team back in order. It doesn't matter which team it is. That's how City are. They move one way, another player fills in the gap. They move one way, another player fills in the gap. Everything about them is precision. It's killer. If I'm going to say it now. I'm going to look in the camera. It is February 18th. If Pep doesn't fuck this up, City have a very good chance of winning the Champions League.
Of course they do.
Once.
Of course they do.
But I don't know. I don't know. I feel like a lot of the dead weight. Yeah, but a lot of the mistakes and fuck-ups that Guardiola can do, there aren't many left because the squad is getting really small. There's only like 18 guys on the team now. As long as he doesn't play Ake in the final, I'm good.
Oh, now you've spoken it into existence. Real quick, it's the Munich Olympic Stadium. I did look it up, which makes sense. But it's been since 05, 06 that they've had Allianz. So
Munich. Oh, I don't like that. Munich Olympic Stadium.
It's a little Nazi-ish, yeah. Turgucu Munchen is now the current tenant, despite no teams being there since 2006. So I think we get a break on that one, if I'm being honest.
That's World War II adjacent? I think we'll accept that as as an item for the show.
Right.
Let's talk Red Bull Salzburg from an American perspective. This is all about Aronson. If you watch the American team, he's fucking killer. That team runs hard, fights hard. They have a 33-year-old coach. No player on that team or their coach. This is all their first season. The guy had never been a manager before. And I wanted to bring it up with Conte's comments about Spurs, saying how he needs more players, he needs more older veterans. And I think it got taken out of context to make the Conte thing sound bad. But I think, it's just two ways of thinking, right? Do we let a team grow in a sort of easier league and let players grow? We sell them on. Red Bull Salzburg has put some really great players into Europe. Holland, Mane being the two that I think of. Taki Minamino also came through Red Bull Salzburg. And they have the weird sister club where it's like, oh, you could go to Leipzig. We don't own that
Right,
team.
I was going to say, I confuse them with Leipzig way too much.
They're not Leipzig.
No, I know. No, I'm saying, I'm like, Timo Werner? No.
No.
But anyway.
Right, but Rangnick, if you're the sporting director, you run both clubs.
Yes.
Which is weird. And I think they all run Red Bull. They have a whole thing going on. So it's interesting how they work that. But Aronson was really, really, really good. And they will move him on. He's got a Conor Gallagher quality. I think he's got his game will translate to England. He's got the hair. He's got the running. Mm-hmm. When he plays for the U.S. men's national team, He's got the fight, and he set up the goal that put Red Bull up. But then, of course, Kingsley Coman and the relentlessness of fucking Bayern, they get their goal. If we were still doing away goals rules, I'd still not.
It would
worry.
be over essentially because you've effectively got to go to Munich and win, right? Whereas now, obviously, you don't. But no, I still called that out. I think I said in the preview episode that I thought Bayern would handle them, but I think that they, closer than the experts think sort of thing. So I think it was probably right on the money on that. But no, getting back to your Conte thing, okay?
Yeah.
He did it at Chelsea. He did it at Inter. He talks, and by the way, Chelsea gave him a war chest. Chelsea gave him like $100 million in spending, and he was like, I want more though. So he's insatiable in that front, as he should be. He says he's vocal. He says what he wants. He goes after he talks about the players he wants to go get. He doesn't give a shit about money. Frankly,
I can't imagine he didn't know Levy was this way.
That's the thing, is that okay, you have to remember, before Spurs hired Nuno, they were this close to talking. We're talking with Conte, Paratici's whispering in his ear, they're buddies from the Juventus days, and then Conte walks away. And it was not reportedly over his salary. It was like, hey, you need your fucking team stinks. You're gonna need XYZ players. And Levy's like, that's just not gonna happen. Not even like, yeah, it's okay. Fast forward 3 months later, they hire Nuno and then subsequently fire Nuno. They're still paying him, I would imagine. And they go, okay, we'll just lie to you. Like, we'll get you whatever the fuck you want to get. Come on in, please come save us.
It could it could still happen. It just is going to be, it's going to be Conte complaining all the way. I don't think he'll leave.
I do. I honestly do. Because
where's he going to go?
18. Where do you think? Manchester United. I've said it a few times on the show. He has an 18-month contract. Who gives a shit to him if he leaves, 6 months into that? What does he care? Right? Like, the thing is that there has to be a job open, but I do think that United, come on. Do you remember the saga where Cristiano Ronaldo scored a goal and it basically got Nuno fired and not Ole? So Spurs got Conte and not United. You think that they're going to let that happen again? So I think we're going into the summer with the two biggest names in the market still being Pochettino, still being Conte. I think one will be a free agent of his own volition. I think the other will get fired.
Maybe one of them will get the Real. Maybe Pochettino will go to Real instead.
Maybe he will. It weirdly feels like a Pochettino team now.
What, Real does?
Yeah. There's no major star power. They're investing in youth. And they're not good. They're not the Galacticos anymore, right? So I think he would do.
But I mean, we will see. We will see. They will get Mbappe. They could get Haaland and Mbappe.
That's fair, but
insane.
So it's a question of what happens first, right? Because if Pochettino does go there, does he say, "I don't want Mbappe," or he was great in Paris, let's get him, right? So I mean, there's an inflection point. I'm just conjecture here. I have no idea, but I'm saying like that could be the inflection point for that.
They are still playing.
They'll go after Haaland.
They are still playing Casemiro, Modric, and Kroos. Still, they're on like year 8.
Yep.
It's just, I mean,
no,
I don't know if
together. Modric's
I don't know
if
that still. I don't know if some of the longevity we're seeing. We're seeing it with Tom Brady, and we're seeing it with LeBron, and we're seeing it with certain players. Cristiano, sorry. Messi less so. I think Messi not as good as he used to be.
Let's be very clear about what happened to Messi. His soul, he doesn't feel the will to go on anymore. He's playing in Paris because
there was nowhere else to go.
No really else to go. The Barcelona thing changed him on a molecular level, and he doesn't have the drive anymore. Right?
Whereas, you don't think so?
No, think about it, right? Like Ronaldo goes back to United and he goes, we're going to do this again. And by the way, and this is not to speak ill of Messi, who I think is the more talented of the two, that he has an insatiable drive, right? Not that Messi
goals.
Doesn't, but Ronaldo, I think that's one thing Ronaldo has had over him. And I think that's where the argument, those who are in agreement with the Ronaldo side of that, who versus who argument.
He's much more MJ versus LeBron.
Yeah, I agree. But yeah, I think that he felt the pride of Barcelona leave him, and that has clearly taken its toll. So it's not that he's still not one of the best players in the world. Of course he is, but there's not that killer instinct.
I feel the same way. I think that the episode of Ronaldo versus Messi, it's ad nauseum, but I think Ronaldo being, for lack of a better word, more worldly. Just, hey, I left Portugal at 19. I went to England. Then I went to Real Madrid and the biggest team in the world. And I said we were going to win the Champions League. And we won 3 out of 4. And now I'm going from here to there. And I went to Juve and I'm going here. He's just got much more of a killer. The branding is he's much more out front.
Absolutely.
He's just bigger and more.
But to be clear,
got more to him.
And in no particular order, it was Batman and the Joker, right? Like they played off of each other for how long?
Oh, I think they definitely pushed each other, but I don't think Messi has I want to be the biggest media star in the world. He'd rather go home.
Yes.
Like he doesn't care about that.
Mm-hmm.
And I think being out of Barcelona has hurt him for sure.
Yeah.
And then there's Neymar, who I don't get the Neymar thing. I'll never get it. I never got it. I don't care. I don't think I like Brazilian players in general. Whenever I hear people talk about Ronaldinho, I get frustrated. I'm like, what is it with these fucking guys? The guy burnt out. I don't get it. I didn't watch Ronaldinho on a regular basis, so I can't say that I know everything. And anyone who's watching this and goes, oh, you don't know anything about Ronaldinho, fucking plastic. I'm like, yes, at some point I had to be new to the game. I'm sorry. So treat me like a 10-year-old. I simply didn't watch Ronaldinho at the time. Yeah. It didn't happen. I'm sorry.
Barcelona couldn't get past Napoli today in the Europa League. So
Napoli's good.
Sure. But it's another moment of wow, how far they've fallen, right?
Ferran Torres missing the shot and crying on the pitch in the Europa League. How are you going to handle it if you're crying in the Europa League?
Yeah. So look, I mean, I never had a dog in the fight. I always like watching Real Madrid and Barcelona compete against each other. And I love the plucky underdog piece of Atletico going back the last 10, 15 years, right? And the whole league is folded into itself. It almost feels like the few years, because the Red Sox were still good, but like after they won in 2004, it's like the rest of the American League just kind of folded into itself. That's kind of what La Liga feels like right now. So I hope that they get their mojo back just for the sake of the neutral.
There's a level of athleticism that when you watch La Liga games, it's just not there.
Yeah.
They're just not. Like Adama Traore is going to kick that league's ass.
Right. But again, do you remember what the Kansas City Royals looked like in the heyday of the Yankees and Red Sox? They all look like that now.
Yeah.
Right? Because the Yankees and Red Sox picked up and left fucking town, and you're left with Royals versus Orioles in August.
Yeah.
Oh my God, kill me.
Or that Mets Kansas City World Series was just like, what's happening, baseball?
Yeah. What's going on here?
Stop letting teams win. Like once Cleveland wins, the Indians, I'm calling them the Indians, then we'll really have nothing left. They should rig it. Well, that league's not going to start again anyway. Let's go into what's coming up, and then we'll finish off and do a lot of time about your poor team. Matchups this weekend. The Saturday early is West Ham versus Newcastle. All of a sudden, that's a really good fucking game.
That's a good game. That's a good game.
Although, sad news for the Newcastle. Kieran Trippier, broken foot. Ouch. Yeah. He had scored 2 free kicks in the last 2 games. West Ham still fighting, still pushing. Nobody really wants top 4, although the Brighton loss does put United squarely into that top 4 slot. They might not release it for the rest of the season, but the way they've been going, I don't expect that. Brentford, go to Arsenal. As much as our Brentford love fest has gone on, I feel like these are the teams that Arsenal just beats easily. Like Brentford feels like, Arsenal is just going to beat Brentford. They've got revenge on their mind for opening day that Friday night.
Go back to that opening day game and think about
where Arsenal are, yeah,
and where they are now. Yeah, it's night and day. So, and I said this the other day on my solo show that I think Arteta could be manager of the year.
If he gets in the top 4, he will be manager
definitely,
of the year.
Yeah, and even still, he's in the conversation. So,
but I mean, it does matter. I think like if City finish with 95 points, I guess Pep can't get it again. Maybe anyway.
That's the hard part, right? Like he is.
We almost have a traditional match week in that we actually have 6 7 a.m., 10 a.m. kickoffs. So get your goal zone out on Peacock. For you people in Europe, we have a channel that lets you watch all the games happen all at the same time. You guys have to watch guys talk into screens.
Oh, my God.
But we can actually watch a game, and they cut into the games.
I imagine Red Zone is available over there, right? Like
no.
Like NFL Red Zone.
Yes, they probably have.
Okay,
NFL
so that's what it is, guys. We came up with Red Zone because fantasy football became the biggest thing in the NFL in the last 20 years. So the NFL was like, hey, here's a way to watch 6 games at once. This is fucking great. And so basically Peacock and NBC, who have the rights here in the States, were
it's produced by the Premier League.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Wow, and they just don't let those guys have it. I love how just feudal they are in their own sport.
They've got to protect the lower league football because if you actually had the games be on television, no one would go to Scunthorpe or Rotherham or Kidderminster or Stockport.
That's just the most broken fucking logic I've ever. Anyway,
I know it doesn't matter. So we carry on. So that we have Burnley versus Brighton. Burnley in the relegation zone. These are the games they got to win. If Burnley wants to get out of it, they've got to take points off Brighton. Brighton will play them off the park, but Burnley.
So I talked a little bit about this the other day. I just it's over. Norwich, Watford, Burnley, pack your shit. Like it's over. Because
there's not 4 teams worse. 3 teams, excuse me.
No, none of them are catching Newcastle, right? This is kind of what I was talking about. Norwich is 4 points, but with literally 19 goals behind in goal difference, or 17. Yeah. Watford are 6 points behind with worse goal difference. So you have to win 2, or if you're Burnley, 3 more games than Newcastle the rest of the year. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Although the Trippier thing is big. He's going to be out for 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Burnley have 1 win. They need at least, what did we say? 8? 6?
We said 8. We pared it down to like 5, right?
If they're lucky.
Yeah. But again,
they start winning now.
They've already lost 2 of their 4 games in hand. And it's just, the clock is rapidly approaching midnight for Sean.
So we'll see what Brighton does at home. Burnley, that's a must win. Liverpool, Norwich at this point, cannon fodder. At home, Liverpool should. What's the line? Probably 3, 4.
Yeah, probably something like that.
Another good game. The now resurgent Southampton under the now resurgent Frank Lampard. Frank Lampard has figured out that Everton. Southampton are playing Everton. Frank Lampard has figured out that Everton can't defend, and so they're not going to defend. And they're going to play a lot of fun games down the stretch and see if their attacking players can't do something. So it'll be more akin to the Chelsea team where it was unacceptable to lose. But for Everton, swashbuckling's great. As long as they win 1 out of 3 games, they're gold.
Yeah. There's nothing ahead of them in this season anyway. If Newcastle is safe, they're safe.
Going, yeah.
Exactly.
Villa, Watford. This is a watershed game. I think Villa need a big performance against Watford. Watford are in bad shape. Uncle Woy is getting nothing out of this team. They're defensively terrible, and at least under their previous managers, they were scoring goals. But now they can't. Now they just give up goals, and now they can't score goals either. So they are really hitting the bottom of the barrel.
Really have had a wobble in the last month or so.
Yeah,
so
I would say that's true.
This is a game where they really need to come out strong and kind of reassert themselves as a top half team because they've fallen into 12th. And their
last game was a loss, and I don't remember who it was against. That you didn't expect them.
It was bad. It was
Everton.
Yeah.
And that was a bad loss.
Everton and then the 3-3 against Leeds. Like they're having some trouble here. So
they lost to Newcastle. That was even worse.
Well, yeah. And then there's a couple of interesting ones to round out the week, right? We've got Crystal Palace hosting Chelsea. I don't know the terms of Conor Gallagher's loan agreement. They may make him sit out.
Oh no,
for
he
that.
won't play. He won't play.
Yeah.
They don't let you play.
Yeah. So that's a big shot to Palace, but
yeah, but that could mean that could mean that Alisi and Eze play with Zaha, which could be fun.
Sure. Yeah. No, I mean,
Palace will be up for this game, no
yeah.
Gallagher, not Noel Gallagher, but no Gallagher against Chelsea will be sad. But again, Crystal Palace, a problem. Leeds United versus Man United, that will be good on Sunday because Leeds will bring it and they will punch Man United in the face, or they won't. United could just blow them away. Right. If Leeds shows fight early, this is going to be one of those Leeds scores early, United boo birds come out. It's at Ellen Road. Yeah. I don't trust United at all.
I think their game plan is make Manchester United flinch. So this is going to be a fun one to see if they can succeed. Wolves and Leicester is going to round out the week on Sunday at 11:30 Eastern.
The dogs, the dogs derby.
Two teams that you don't really know what they are. Wolves have been, strong. They're on the cusp of this top 4 European spot conversation. Like Leicester are not. But if you would have told me 6 months ago that Leicester is going to be in 7th and Wolves are going to be in 11th, I go, yeah, that makes 100% sense. But if you would have told me Wolves in 7th and Leicester in 11th, I'd been like, that's a little funky. So it's going to be interesting to see if Wolves can keep their run going. They're 4 out of 5. The one loss they had was to Arsenal, who were right above them. So they're winning games that they should. And that's how obviously that's how you get into the top 4 in European races. But it's a tricky one. I think that they're home, right? They're at the Molineux. So yeah, so they should have the advantage going in, but we'll see. We'll see. I think Leicester can still pack a punch on their
Leicester, day. You ready for this?
Uh-huh.
Leicester have a bottom 5 defense.
Yeah.
That's how bad they are.
Mm-hmm.
So
and now, Wolves have
a bottom 5 defense best. Versus have almost the best defense.
Third best, I think. Yeah.
Wolves have the second best defense in the league.
Okay.
But they have 2 games less. So they have it's 14. City are on 14 against, then Wolves, then Chelsea. But they've only played 23 games. But they can't score. So we have an immovable object versus an immovable force of Leicester can score. They need to try to score. They need to play Daka and Madsen and get all those guys moving and just not try and sit on leads. If they get a lead, they need to pour it on, get to 4 and hang on for 4-2s, right?
Yeah.
Just Leicester need to be 13-14 Liverpool without Luis Suarez. That's how they have to play.
Yeah. Well,
so Brendan Rodgers should know how to do that. So just get it going. Find out who your Luis Suarez is. He may be on your team. His name may be Patson Daka. So just get that going, and hopefully that's a good game because I do enjoy Wolves. They're weirdly a defensive team that I don't find boring because Neves and Moutinho are so good when they play. And they do put things together. And that brings us to our friends, Manchester City versus Tottenham. Everything says you should get blown away. Yep. You can't score. You can't defend. We're the top scoring team in the league with the best defense. You should have a problem.
This should be a really not in the face game. This could be ugly from the jump. But in recent years at the Etihad, I have a lot of good memories. So I don't think Tottenham are a team that get up for the big games, which is good because they're going to have a handful of them coming up. But I think that, like I said off the top, they're all of the reason and logic say Tottenham are going to get blown to pieces in this game. And if City score an early goal, as we say pretty much every week about City, then they will. But if and that's been the thing for me with Spurs against Wolves, against I forget who it was before that, but it was shaky. And Southampton. Oh, they got absolutely battered by Southampton. So, but it wasn't over the course of 90 minutes per se, as much as it was in the first 15. You didn't leave your own 18-yard box.
To me, it's if City can shackle Sonny, it's Sonny who kills City. It's
always,
Sonny on the break. Is Kyle Walker on the team Kyle Walker's got to be in that game. He's got to be the controlling thing because Spurs are too good not to get breaks. There will be moments. It's going to happen.
But the
and
problem
will it
that
be
I
a 2
find
shots,
is
2 goals? Yeah.
the problem I find is if Ben Davies starts,
I mean, all that defense problem is its own thing.
if you're still not going to have Skip, I'm pretty sure in the midfield. So
Did he
you're
die?
going to
What
have,
happened to him?
He's still working through something. I don't remember exactly what, but so we're pining for Eric Dyer. This is where we are.
Weird.
Weird. Watch the first 10 minutes of this game. Not so much about how City look, but about how Tottenham look. Because if they're at 6s and 7s and they're a shit show at the back, well, buckle up because it's going to be a bumpy ride.
You will have the advantage of time. You'll have had more time to practice.
Because you played midweek.
City will have played and been in Portugal and back.
Yeah.
So that is one thing. But it's not like City don't have a whole other group to play. So it's fine.
They made the trip, but I mean, let's see. When did you score in that game? Because it was over almost as soon as it started.
Right? It was done they were up 4 at halftime. It was
It
was a very low stress game.
Exactly. So it wasn't as if they were really exerting themselves. Yeah, 7, 17, 32, and 44.
So I will give you your fear stat of the day. You ready? Since losing 2-0 at home to Crystal Palace in October, Man City have earned 43 from available 45 in the Premier League, going 14-1-0, with the exception being the 1-1 draw last month for Southampton. Manchester City have lost just one of their last 11 home league games against Tottenham, going 8-2 with 2 draws before we were having gone down 2-1 in February.
Well, I remember the loss, and we drew with you the 2-2 a couple of years ago.
When we had 35 shots on opening day.
Was it opening day?
That was the Laporte handball that wasn't a handball.
No, that was the Lucas comes on late and scores a header like in the first touch of the game from him. When they had the green jerseys, I think it was 2019, maybe like the 2019-20 season.
There's been some fucking bullshit games that you guys have pulled out of your asses.
That was 2018-19. No, because it was like right after. It was like it was before the Champions League final, but it was like right after Ajax. We played you guys.
Let's see. Let's really go down memory lane.
Yeah, let's do this.
You fucking asshole. I hate these games.
And we got you. Listen, if we win, we could do the double.
Yes, which would be completely shocking. Let's see. We've got this season you won 1-0.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And then the EFL Cup, we beat you 1-0. The Mourinho got fired game. Where's the 2-2? The 2-2 was the first week of the season. The expected goals was 2.9 to 0.3 on a 2-2. That was 19. That was the opening week of 1920.
At the Etihad?
At the Etihad, yes.
Okay.
Pochettino was still there. Lamela scored and Mora scored in the 56th minute.
Yeah, Mora was off the bench.
City were up 2-1, and then Mora came on in the second half.
I remember.
You ready for the stats here? Are you ready for this one?
Yeah.
City had 30 shots, 8 on target. You had hit 2 out of 3.
Yep. That's the formula.
All right. And then there was a goal chalked off in the final minute.
Yes. It's happened again. It's happened again. Yes. Yeah, I remember that.
That was the Laporte game.
Right.
That was brutal. It was good old friend Nico Otamendi was still on the team.
Oh my goodness.
There was some old friends that were in this game. Your team had a lot of old friends. Eriksson was still around, fucking around.
So the 20 that's 2019-20. So then 2018-19, we were in the stadium already.
There's been some real bangers where City just completely annihilated.
Yeah.
You've had some under 1 goal games. So
we had the Champions League games, where we actually went 1-1.
The 4-3 was fucking bonkers.
Oh my god, that was still the wildest game I've ever seen. And then the one I remember, the game that we beat you at the Etihad was the 2016 Valentine's Day. And I've said this on the show before. It was Lamela through the legs of the City center back to Eriksson in the 85th minute, I believe. And a man kissed me on the lips. after that game. And it was Valentine's Day, so I cheated on my now wife with a man. I
mean, but there are some real fucking names on this team that no City fan ever remembers again. Fernando, no one remembers. Zabaleta and Clichy in the back. I mean, this is year 2 Pellegrini. Not great. This is your the ascendant Spurs.
Yeah.
And this is the declining post. Pep is about to come. I think Pep may have been announced already, and the team completely checks out on Pellegrini.
Yeah.
They're like, oh,
that game.
Kyle
Walker.
Who called him a dusty cunt? Was it?
Was it?
It's the coach from Newcastle, the asshole with the white hair.
Steve Bruce.
No, the other guy who did the dance against in the FA
Alan
Cup.
Pardew?
Yes, he called him a dusty cunt.
Oh, that's fantastic! What a great insult. That 2-1 game. Also, Walker was on our side still. Yes. And I forget who the City. I think it was Sterling. Of course, it was Sterling. He's away, and in frame comes Kyle Walker like fucking Roadrunner, and he shoves him in the back in the penalty area.
No call.
And like my balls are in my throat. I'm like, oh my God, how the fuck did you get away with that?
That always see. So there are two things about Raheem Sterling that I love about him. One, I believe, and we'd have to check, and I don't care if it's true. It doesn't matter. I believe he's the all-time leader in penalties called against. Like, he's drawn the most penalties in Premier League history.
Okay.
He also doesn't get any penalties called. Like, it could be even more.
Yeah.
Because he draws so many. Because, I mean, the great thing about Raheem Sterling is, as much as he's frustrating and can't finish, he gets to where he's supposed to be.
Oh, yeah.
And so he gets knocked over all the time.
Yeah.
But
he's like Bambi.
He's also really strong and gets in position and runs where he needs to be. And when he's in form, he may end up in a top 5 all-time Premier League goal scorers. It's just like, for a guy who can't shoot and has a chocolate foot, meaning it
melts.
It bends, it cracks.
Yeah.
The guy just scores goals. He's like, he's more than a tap-in merchant, because he's not a big lumberer who stays in the box. He does take people on, but he does get into places. And he started at fucking 16 years old, and there's nothing slowing down about him. And he's hard to love, which is weird.
I get that. All right, so then it's time. What say you on Saturday at 12:30 Eastern?
I'm going hard. I'm gonna give you guys a goal, but it's gonna be like 4-1.
I get that. I'm taking 1-0 Spurs. No, it can't.
You're not stopping us.
No, 1-1. 1-1.
You're going for the draw.
Loris is man of the match.
He fucked you last week. Did you talk about how shit he was?
No, he didn't.
Come on, dude. He kicked an atom ball to Davies, and he had 2 chances to block the other one, and he hit it right to fucking Podence.
No, he punched it out. And as I said, it went to Jimenez, not Podence, and Jimenez made a great play on the volley. But no, I mean, first and foremost, he has earned the right to make as many mistakes as he wants for 2 reasons. A, he's one of the best shot stoppers in the world, if not the best. And he plays with that defense in front of him every fucking week.
It's so bad.
They're awful. Okay. So even if I believe that goal was his fault, which I still don't, it's okay. Put it on his tab, because he has a lot more to go before we're all even with Davies and Sanchez and fucking who's the other one? Royal. Okay.
That guy's bad.
Yeah. And Tanganga and Aurier and concussed Vertonghen. Okay.
Poor concussed Vertonghen. Is he still somewhere just throwing up from his concussion? Is he in Besiktas?
I should never say any mean words about Super Jan. I love him. I'm sorry, Jan. But no, so I'll take a 1-1.
Concussed Vertonghen. That's great. That needs to be your fucking. You need to change your fantasy team name to concussed.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
Vomiting Jan.
Vomiting Jan, even better. You know what's really sad? Are you ready for how bad the Man United defense is? They're 3rd in shots allowed and number 1 in saves. Wow.
Man,
that is so bad.
De Gea's been old.
That means that they are awful. Like, I can see making fun of Ederson. I'm going to go through this. Ederson, I think for the last 5 years, has faced the least shots in the league. Nothing ever happens to him.
Alisson is probably close.
Allison's always right behind him, meaning he's ahead of him by one. Anyway, I'm wrapping this bitch up.
All right, let's get out of here.
That was the Squeaky Bum Time Podcast with a resurgent Mike and resurgent Laurent. We are the football wing of the Chop Sports Network. We record on Tuesdays and Fridays, so be sure to subscribe wherever you get your podcast so you never miss an episode. If you're listening on Apple, please rate and review the show. Somebody said something nice about our FA Cup coverage. Was it you? Say it again. All right. Bye.